So everyone who knows him, they remember him above all for his joy, for his humility, and for his gratitude. He never spoke of the amount of sacrifice that he offered. He only spoke of the privilege of serving the mother's work. And even in his final years, he carried a luminous calm and a gentle smile. His presence lives on in the legacy of his service to Sri Aurobindo and the mother, as he once said very simply, I am prayer only. So this panel today will be led by those who have felt touched, guided, and deeply loved by his presence in their lives, and the ones who share the continued work of materializing the work that he had built the foundation for. With that, I would let the panel begin.
Thank you. Kirit viewed Auroville, rather he emphasized that the Auroville was conceived by the mother as a laboratory of new evolution. I remember many times he was telling me, have you seen there is a laboratory of evolution in Auroville? And I was wondering that what does it mean? I thought there must be some evolution means what? From Darwin and all other, some animals and vegetables, and it will be like that. But see, he said that no, you must visit the laboratory of evolution. It is this laboratory of evolution inaugurated for the entire humankind to participate in this human experiment of evolving human consciousness. Before I invite our Secretary of Auroville Foundation, Dr. Mrs. Jayanti Madam, I would like to speak out the Auroville Charter. He used to give so much emphasis on Auroville Charter, all of you must be knowing. But as this session is on Auroville, I think it should start with the Auroville Charter. Number 1, Auroville belongs to nobody in particular. Auroville belongs to humanity as a whole. But to live in Auroville, one must be a willing servitor of the divine consciousness. We should collaborate with this Usha, this dawn, and be a servitor of the divine. Auroville will be the place of an unending education, of constant progress, and a youth that never ages. Auroville wants to be the bridge between the past and the future, ancient dawn to the noons of the future, taking advantage of all discoveries from without and from within. Auroville will boldly spring towards future realizations. And Auroville will be a site of material and spiritual researches for a living embodiment of an actual human unity. So he used to say that Auroville Charter is so important, so important. One must remember Auroville Charter. You should read Auroville Charter. You should read word by word the Auroville Charter. So with these words, I invite the Secretary Auroville Foundation, Dr. Mrs. Jayanti Ravi Madam, who had an opportunity to work under Kirit Bhai's guidance and now who is working for Auroville and taking Auroville to the newest heights. Madam, please.
Thank you, Vibha. There's a time limit, of course. If we start talking about Kirit Bhai, we all get carried away because I think he just, as I've written also, he stormed into our lives very, very sweetly. And I often wonder that if that was the impact that Kirit Bhai had on our lives. I'm trying to imagine what would have been the direct impact of those that had the privilege of actually working on a daily or hourly basis with Mother and Sri Aurobindo. I didn't get to do that, but I think working with him, and that too not for a very long time. Earlier today we had a session on Life Divine where Ananda Reddy ji mentioned that he was perhaps one of the first teachers for him and one of the first students for him, for Kirit Bhai, Ananda Reddy ji, who taught him the Life Divine. And I dare say I was probably the last. I still remember the day, it's so etched. I know where we were sitting, 2008, 16th of September is when we met in the antechamber of the Principal Secretary of Education back then, Mr. Adia. My PA told me that there is a political advisor to the Chief Minister who's come. And so the monkey in my head said it must be some political advisor. So I thought it'll take 5 minutes. I'll complete it and come back. So I told her, she was called Leela, I'll go finish the meeting and come back in 10 minutes. And I must say that meeting is still going on. It was very beautiful what happened that day and then subsequently. And then I don't think this was by design, but I think Jaya, it's just today happening that way, panning out. It was not planned that way. We had others in the panel and some were not to be, some were not available. Jaya was one of the first people that he brought to Gujarat when he was there for the Children's University Task Force. So I had met her back then, I think in the year 2009. 2009 is when she first came there. And then we would be off and on in touch, but similarly Vibha, I think 2012, I had met her when we were in Gujarat briefly. 9, 10, I had met her in Gujarat. Also the foundation of Tapovan and all that. But I think when I came as an election observer, that was also 2011-12, that was also Infinite Grace of the Mother. Professor Kirit Joshi, due to his health, he had to relocate back to Pondicherry. He was in care. And I had been, recruited for election duty. And I went and protested because that was the 4th time I was being sent in a matter of 2 or 3 years. But then something in me told me, no, you don't. So the secretary would every day follow up and ask me, what happened to your letter for exemption? But something prevented me from sending it. And then Election Commission sends me to Pondicherry, and the constituency was Raj Bhavan constituency, which means that the ashram is where I had to be, and care was very much a part of my jurisdiction. It was again her divine mischief, or whatever you call it. And then I was also working on my PhD at that time. Vibha, you have to stop me if I... And the first person that he wanted me to meet, I told Kirit Bhai, I'm coming there. He said, no, first meet Vibha, and she will take you to the Samadhi. You go there and then come and meet me. I still remember that morning. I remember what you wore. It's as clear as a picture in front of me. We did the whole... This thing went, and then later that time he wanted me to visit Auroville. I think he was cooking up something very naughty and mischievous she had planned. And when I think Jaya once asked him, shouldn't Jayanti, that's how you call me, right? Shouldn't Jayanti come to Auroville? He says, no, she's too senior for it, was what he told her. Something like that. But I think there was some mischief being cooked there. And so Vibha brought me to Auroville, and I remember that first day we came, I was taken to Frederick's. We met Frederick, and he took me on a round of Auroville, tour of Auroville. Also met Jaya, we went to Matra Mandir and all. Anyway, but coming back to the topic on hand, I think the contribution in laying the foundation of Auroville, I'm not just talking of the physical brick and mortar foundation, but whether it's the act, he was in Delhi. I think the sequence of events after Mother left her body. There's also another interesting anecdote. I'm sort of jumping between ideas, but there's so much to share. He would often refer to the story of Shopner Vasavdatta. How many of you have read the story? Divya has and Anjali ji has. So it's the story in a nutshell. There's a king who sees an enemy approaching from another area. So he wants to set up a trap. So he gets his daughter to say that you befriend that king so that we can win him over. She goes there, but then she falls in love with that king, and then there's a lot more to it. I'm just giving you gist, but he would say it often. So in some ways, I also think that I've heard from some of the ex-students of the ashram and so on that perhaps Kirit Bhai also in the initial years there was a bit of a resistance from the ashram to send young students here for whatever, because there was a feeling that young students should not get exposed to what was happening in Auroville, because I don't know, maybe people like Tapas can clarify. There was some, even much before, even when the mother was there, perhaps feeling that here it was all about a lot more of freedom and so on. So Kirit Bhai too was not very, very open to letting the students come here. Pardon me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've gathered later on. But maybe along the course, something changed when he came in contact with this, when he went to Delhi as well. And then, I don't know if you're all aware that the entire act, what was the ordinance, Tuan is here. He's also been very closely associated with him during his period as chairman. But even before that, the drafting of the act went through a lot of ups and downs, the ordinance, because there were many sections to be removed. There was a lot of, even at some point, the then Prime Minister was also probably not very keen on some sections, I'm told. Then they also had to take the help of JRD, Tata, breakfast meeting, somebody was hiding behind. So there are many interesting anecdotes there. But finally, so he put the structural framework in a way, act. But later on, when he was here, that those 5 years, 99 to 2004, I think with due respect, I'm sure that there were chairmen before that and after that, and I'm sure they've all, in fact, we have a beautiful message from Dr. Karan Singh for today's Lit Fest. We wanted to invite him. And I think, Vijay, if you're here, or somebody from the office, Basu, we should get a printout also and read it perhaps tomorrow. Karan Singh ji's letter, message for the Lit Fest. I want to really acknowledge the wonderful work that all the chairmen have contributed, whether it's Dr. Karan Singh ji, I think a lot of Professor Swaminathan, they've all contributed, there's no doubt. But I would yet add that those 5 years that Kirit Bhai was here, not just in terms of the master plan completely taking shape, the document, but Tuan has shared with me, I don't know if I'm reproducing it rightly, he would also walk from in the secretariat at Tamil Nadu, from the table of a section officer. I mean, he was a senior officer, as Shelley said. She said he resigned from government service. It was not just a government job. He was an IAS officer in those days, which was, and he was assistant collector at Tapi, and his father was the first speaker of Saurashtra. His mother was the first mayor, lady mayor of Jamnagar in those days. So he came from a family where, and Jash Bhai will probably tell us more about all of that. So that was the impeccable, context, place, Arya Samaj, his father was into it, all of that. And Dayanand Saraswati ji, all of that. And yet, he gave it all up and came here. And as nature has that mischief of sometimes, he was again very sweetly held by the scruff of his neck by a very loving mother and taken back to the government. In 1973, after the mother breathed her last, he was taken back to a ministry of the then HRD, Human Resources Development, and made the special secretary to government, which is unheard of. And then he was responsible for the Act, Master Plan, Siru, the foundations of Siru was laid by him, Sauchu, Sayar. So the whole cultural, educational, scientific research, I think all that happened here. He had these commissions also from Delhi. There were people, including one led by Professor Venkata Subramaniam, perhaps if I'm not mistaking the name, or the Pondicherry University VC. So there was so much of work that happened in those 4 years that even now, Akur, for example, was another project, Auroville Center for Urban Research, or I'm not so, and these are all like mines when we sometimes don't know about. A year and a half ago, we were searching something and we accidentally came across the entire Akur proposal and then found that he had made a full proposal back then to the government, and maybe EU was funding a portion of it. But the proposals are also beautifully um, drafted with every component well thought through and so on. So I think, and as Lalit is also here, Lalit, you should be here. Aiye. So, and you're a part of those pictures of the master plan making, right? Pictures where we see a slightly younger, you've now grown horizontally as well, a little bit, if I may. But at that time, we see a very lean version of you in the pictures there. So I think what he did was, I think whoever came in touch with him, I think he just stormed into their lives very sweetly and changed something in it. I think I'll stop here.
Thank you very much, madam. Yes, I do remember madam working as the then educational commissioner in government of Gujarat and implementing all various schemes launched by Kirit Bhai, and then means it had a great impact on the educational system of Gujarat. As regards government of India taking charge of Auroville in those days due to some disturbances, I had asked once Kirit Bhai that has it not harmed Auroville? Will it means if government takes over, we do not know. One day there will be political system situation would be one day there is one government, after a few years there will be another government. He said no. The Auroville Charter is drafted in such a manner that no government can take over, overtake or overrule. So this is what he said, and he said it belongs to the divine and all governments would collaborate. And I think presently that is what is going on, and it has been the case. So with this I invite Professor Gautam Ghoshal to please share his views. You should be sitting here, please. Yes, yes.
Hello, hello. Am I audible? So, actually, he was one of the stalwarts, but I missed him. I was close to Gokak, Iyengar, Setna, and Premananda Kumar, and all those stalwarts, but unfortunately I missed him. And only once I saw him in Kolkata, the last time he came to Kolkata, but I started reading his blog recently. And I have found him an extraordinary summarizer. I have never seen any Sri Aurobindo scholar who has such a great command over Presi. And he does it so clearly. Sri Siddha also tried in Shantiniketan, but he was not that clear. And it is important when you write on Sri Aurobindo, when you speak on Sri Aurobindo, as you must have heard Ananda Reddy, he is a brilliant speaker in all languages. He speaks Telugu, he speaks Hindi, and I'm fascinated by his speech. Like, I am going through his blog and I find that he's an extraordinary summarizer of Sri Aurobindo's works, and not 2 or 3 works. He has covered all the works of Sri Aurobindo, and unfortunately a book came out last year. I was very critical about the book. It it sought to introduce Sri Aurobindo, and it did nothing. It invited all the irrelevant people to speak on Sri Aurobindo, to write on Sri Aurobindo, and it was nothing. Nobody could know anything by reading that book. I am not naming the book because they are known people. But this Kirit Joshi, I was repenting, in fact, that I didn't meet him. I didn't try to meet him because I was so obsessed with Srinivas Iyengar and Professor Gokak that I was all the time traveling to Karnataka and Chennai and Trichy to contact with them, but I really missed him. And when he speaks of the Veda, it is something like he takes you to the text proper of Sri Aurobindo. When he speaks of integral yoga, he gives you the exact clue to how to integrate all the aspects and how many things are integrated. It's not just love, work and knowledge, but there are plenty of things Sri Aurobindo has integrated. And I've seen that in Kirit Joshi's works, everything is done neatly, clearly. In the blog, I think the blog is going to be extremely important for the future readers of Sri Aurobindo. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Lalit. I'm an architect and urban planner by profession. I came to Auroville at the age of 26. So like most of the people, those who joined Auroville, I was also dissatisfied with what world was offering. So it was good to know that time what you didn't want to do. So I worked for ISKCON's Temple Township. It was a big setup in Mayapur, the world headquarters of ISKCON. That was the first and last job I did. And technically, from a very career point of view, I was retired at the age of 26, those who are looking for progress in those worlds. So I came here young, newly married. And at that time, I joined Auroville's planning office. It was called Auro Futures. And we started working on master plans. Technically, I was a consultant when I joined. That was my entry. We started working on master plan. I was always, of course, very motivated. I could see, actually, I had come from ISKCON side to study the economy of Auroville. The ISKCON team wanted to understand how is this place functioning. So we did a study. It is somewhere in the digital space. It is difficult to locate right now. But that was my knowing or detailed know-how about how this place is developing, evolving, what is the motivation of people, what kind of work they are doing. It was very, very inspiring for me. So when a time came, our job came to an end, we all were making a decision. So yeah, we were guided towards this. So after doing some work, then the topic of master plan started taking the stronger waves. Kirit Bhai was the chairman that time. So we worked along with him under his guidance, and there were a team of planners and other professionals, those who worked on this. So that gave the buzz to Perspective Master Plan with lots of consultation of all type with all kind of group. I remember his sessions which he was giving in health center. Some of you, I don't know how many people are aware. So you were there. So he was also in health center. So many people will go. So he was a very excellent teacher. So he was very clear. He always wanted to explain the vision behind it. Why are we here? Because it is not a rocket science to know that Auroville has been going through, I would say, very natural struggles. It's an evolutionary crisis approach. So he would always talk about why are we here, why we should not be attached to particular things. We are here for a certain progress of evolutionary in nature. Many, many things he talked about. And then he also encouraged us to work in association with one of the government of India, central government's planning department, because Ultimately, they will be our partner collaborator, those who will also deal with some legalities and permissions at that level. So that was TCPO, Ministry of Urban Development's technical arm. So a team worked with them, and what came out was the master plan. That was one thing. So I remember, he was very, very clear in highlighting what is the purpose of life here. Like, we should not be attached to a particular, whatever work has happened in Auroville, the first physical layer, whether ecological work, plantation, this is not the end itself. We need to be going towards further. We also worked on the CIRU proposal. We drafted different faculties, detailed calculations of areas, departments, room, multiple things, calculations were there. So he wanted to take both sides, hardware and software together. So if city is the hardware, that way, the society and development and activities were the software part. You will have housing, roads, infrastructure, setting up of all these things. It is required, also mentioned in master plan. But how do you go ahead, fill it with them, the activities which are in tune with the alignment of vision of Auroville. So CIRU was, and many other activities, they were supposed to be working on those kind of path. So if I have to add my today's engagement, we also have an office. We are also working with multiple projects, including Matri Mandir. I have been also engaged in many educational and learning activities. Many students come. So my experience out of all this, I'm talking about 15 to 20 years of experience in that. I got a chance to help guide, explain some more than 30,000 students, those who have come, and guide educational institute from across the world, those who come to do projects in Auroville, learning. So this is a great living lab. The world outside, particularly youth and students, they are just ready to plug in. If we have our software here in place, our systems, our institutionalization of facilitating them, I think a great job can be done. This was, I think, also was part of one of his original vision when he worked on the CIRU and when he encouraged us. Yeah, this is what I remember and would like to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I remember when I was here, people used to come to meet Kirit Bhai in Care, and they used to tell him, Kirit Bhai, finally Matri Mandir is over. Matri Mandir is now complete, and it is constructed very well. And it was during his tenure that Matri Mandir, complete Matri Mandir, I think Jaya will throw some light, got over. So means completed. It was the first phase was over. So I now invite Jaya to please speak about.
So I got to know Kirit Bhai when he had come, and I must say I'm very surprised when I hear that he was here for 5 years, because it feels like he was here always. Actually, it's so closely connected, all the work. I think it was also because when Kirit Bhai came, he said once that he had heard so much talk about the Aurovillians, certainly not all good. It had been all the fight in the 70s, kind of what we are going through again, something now. And so he was very keen to be here to get to know the Aurovillians. He lived here, he met people. He opened up the super school, I think they called it, so that he could work with the children on philosophy. So, and yeah, those of us who knows his smile, always friendly, always saying, come, come, you can come, no. I took up work. I was nominated for the working committee. So some of the work I took up there was closely related with him. And I actually was asked to take up a position which I had to refuse. And so when he called me, I had returned from Sweden. I had been in Sweden for a couple of years to look after my parents. And I had just come back, been back in Auroville for a week. And at 8 o'clock in the evening, I got a phone call, and there was a very sweet voice. Hey, Jaya, this is Kirit Bhai. what was I going to say? And then he said, I want you to come up. So something. So I said, but Kirbai, I'm not the speaker. I can't do anything like that. So he said, no, we just talk a little bit. And then I came up because I felt I can't say no. I have said no one time. I'm not going to say no again. So I came up, and then I was suddenly part of the task force group. I met, of course, Jayanti Di also. I was greatly impressed by the work. How there was no, you call it red tape, no? How work was moving and flowing without bureaucratic stiffness and staleness, no? So I went up, I think, 3 times for his participation, Orwellians also. I listened a lot. I saw Kirtbhai, how he acted there. Very, very impressive, with all that softness and clarity. And I could also look in Auroville, what could I take from Auroville, from our educational research, to bring there. And there came a group, came down from Gujarat to visit our schools, educational institutions. I think it was that Kirtbhai, he loved Auroville. That we have already heard. He really loved Auroville. And you know what for me was so amazing was the fact that he loved Aurovillians. He loved us with all our faults and goodnesses or whatever. He had a capacity to see through in each one, somehow, what was there. And that was where he put his faith, and he was not so bothered with all the outer. That was really, really remarkable. So I am very grateful to have had that opportunity to work with him. Later, when he was in care, we could go there to see him also. And later, being able to read his, you can call it memoirs, what he wrote about himself, these 3 big notebooks, no? Great respect for his work, what he has done. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, I remember one of the facts. When he was in Delhi, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, now who is the Prime Minister, Modi Sahib, went to meet him through Murli Manohar Joshi ji, and he requested him to come to Gujarat. Kirtbhai was not keeping well, but Modi ji was into tears that I want to do something for the children of Gujarat. See, he worked as the advisor to the previous Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And Modi Sahib, in spite of that, Modi Sahib invited him, and he went. He came to Gujarat. So that Vidwan Sarvatra Pujyate. So he went, and then that is where he met Jayanti Madam. He assigned her all the tasks, and a great transformative work was done in Gujarat in the field of education. And then when he received a call from the mother, come away to the ashram again when he got an attack, or paralytic attack. It was Jayanti Madam who arranged for an ambulance for him to, I think, no? Yes, I might be wrong. It was a stroke, it was a stroke, but the ambulance was arranged from Chennai to straight to the nursing home. That I remember. Yes, ashram nursing home. Anyway, it was, that is how he worked, and he used to obey the inner call. I now invite Jash Bhai.
I was a little nervous before, thinking that I'm the only male speaker here. Fortunately, the 2 Sai gentlemen came up, and I feel comfortable now. 2 names have already been mentioned, Frederick and Toi. And when I first came to Auroville, my uncle phoned them and said, my nephew is coming to Auroville, please show him around. And Frederick met me, and he said, Kirtbhai has so many nephews and nieces. So I took out my passport to prove that I am a Joshi. But that was Kirit Bhai. Everybody was his family. I consider myself totally blessed and super privileged to be born in the Joshi family, where we have a solitaire in Kirit Bhai. Kirit Bhai was a student of philosophy and law at Wilson College in Mumbai. In 1955, as has been mentioned before, he was appointed as an Indian administrative officer, which he resigned in 1956 and devoted his life to the practice of yoga of Sri Aurobindo and the mother at the ashram in Pondicherry. I'll share with you some stories which most of you would not know. It begins when he was noticed to be much more advanced than his classmates. So he was promoted from second standard to fifth standard, which meant he became a matriculate at the age of 14. At 18, he graduated in philosophy and was offered a job at the Wilson College. He also started his master's in philosophy and was studying law to get an LLB. Back then, students were not allowed to do masters and study anything else. So he asked the Vice Chancellor of the Bombay University for special permission. So at the age of 18, he was teaching, doing his postgraduate course, and studying to become a lawyer. My great uncle, Kirit Bhai's father, was a Sanskrit scholar and has translated Samved in English and Gujarati. He was also, as has been mentioned, Speaker of the Saurashtra Assembly. Kirit Bhai was introduced to Rig Veda at the age of 3. So no wonder we had a jewel amongst us. His younger brother, Harshit Bhai, his cousins Puran Bhai and Sarad Bhai, all his juniors were in Wilson College. And all of them have spent some time at the ashram in Pondicherry. Between 1980 and 88, with the support of International Advisory Council of Auroville, which included then Minister of External Affairs, Mr. J.R.D. Tata, Madam Zivkova of Bulgaria, and Mr. Embo, the then Director General of UNESCO, helped with various Auroville projects, especially in education. In line with what Vivaben mentioned, I wish to share with you a story. Once he asked mother if Auroville was moving forward as she had envisioned, and she replied, "Don't worry, take it one step at a time and the plans will come together." She gave him the example of Karnak temple near Luxor in Egypt, explaining that Karnak temple and the city were built step by step, just like Auroville. Thank you. She told him the Karnak temple civilization was forerunner to Auroville. In January 1999, the government of India appointed him as a member of the International Advisory Council of the Auroville Foundation. And 3 months later, he became the chairman of the foundation. He then jumped back into the Auroville adventure, becoming very active chairman, spending long weeks in Auroville and connecting with Aurovillians to understand their needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Here is a correction, not Jayanti madam, but her daddy. He arranged for an ambulance from Chennai to the ashram nursing home. Many people helped Kirit Bhai. Kirit Bhai worked with many people as Jaya was telling, I have heard Kirit Bhai calling, "Hello, Frederick, my brother," like that, and with so many people, because I used to sit in front of him and he would call so many people. So, yes, but when he was in Delhi, 4 to 5 people and mainly 2 to 3 families helped him the most. And yes, Jyoti Madhok worked with him quite for a very, I mean, she had a very long association of 20-30 years, more than that probably. Rekha Rathi also helped him. But here is a family, Jaipuria family. They took all care of Kirit Bhai. They used to have regular discourses at their house and in their institutes. They are running some schools and many institutes. And Kirit Bhai, for them, it was a great inspiration to manage such schools. But they used to support like anything. I was told that after Kirit Bhai's assignment as in the ministry got over, they purchased a house for them, for Kirit Bhai. And so, yes, it was that much support. Sarita ji arranged. Sarita Saraf has not been able to come today, but her sister Anjali Jaipuria, who had the privilege of working with him for long many years, I invite now Anjali Didi.
I think you've called the wrong person on the stage, because when it comes to Kirit Bhai, I can't stop. And whatever I'll be speaking will be one little iota of all that I would like to speak about him. Because there was life before Sri Aurobindo, the mother, and Kirit uncle, and there was life after. So the life before was nothing, and life after was the real beginning of life. It's like we really started living after we met him, because he took us to the mother in Sri Aurobindo. So the mother has said, and I quote from the mother's agenda, December 1971, "Our human consciousness has windows opening on the infinite. We must open them wide and let the infinite penetrate us freely to transform us." Unquote. When we glance at the life and achievements of Kirit Bhai, one wonders, how can one person achieve so much in one lifetime? And then we see the hands of the mother through his works. Kirit Bhai's consciousness was wide open. The windows, the doors of his consciousness were wide open to the mother constantly. And it was this opening to her that enabled her to work through him. Today, I will enumerate only a few of his many achievements. But that is not why I'm standing here today to speak to you. And that is not the only purpose of my submission. It's just an enumeration in the beginning, and then we'll come to the real reason why we are here, why I am here. In his days at Sri Aurobindo Ashram, under the constant guidance of the mother, he established successfully the free progress system at Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education, that is the Ashram School, number 1. Then, in his post as the Special Secretary of Education, Ministry of HRD, Human Resource Development, he played a crucial role in drafting the legislation for Auroville that the Parliament enacted in 1980 and 1988. Then, I'm just enumerating some of the great work that he's done. With the help of J.R.D. Tata, Kirit Bhai and Satprem carried all the spools, and in those days, the recording was not in chips, was not in cassettes, was not in CDs, they were in spools. So he, with the help of J.R.D. Tata, Satprem and Kirit Bhai carried all the spools of the mother's recordings to France and established there the Mother's Institute of Research. It was this act which led to the publishing of the precious Mother's Agenda in French, subsequently into English, then Hindi, and various regional and some foreign languages. He established the Ved Vidya Pratishthan, through which, even today, the Vedas are being memorized, understood, and chanted. He contributed immensely to the introduction of the life and philosophy of Sri Aurobindo to the Indian Council of Philosophical Research in his capacity as chairperson of the institute. He started the Navodaya schools. I can go on and on. As chairman at Auroville Foundation, he attempted to bring about a new education, new economy, and new organization. And then in Gujarat, he drafted the papers for institutions like Children's University, Indian Institute of Teachers Education, and Gujarat Educational Innovation in Gujarat, yeah. And today, the grand upheaval in the country on primary and secondary education through NEP 2020 seems to be springing from the mammoth work that he did in Gandhinagar. He could do all this, so much and much, much, much more. How? And I come back to the mother's quote. It was because the windows of his consciousness were open to the mother, wide open, and she guided and worked through him constantly. Throughout his life, Kirit Bhai experienced the presence of the mother palpably guiding him. Let me share one of the many examples of how the mother guided him from the occult world. And that is the reason why I'm standing here. I would love to go on recounting his experiences with the mother in physical and occult, but there's no time to say all of them. It's not possible, but as many as I can. As Secretary to the Central Ministry of Education and advisor to the then PM of India, Indira Gandhi, once he happened to be in Bulgaria, and the Minister of Culture of Bulgaria, Mrs. Lidmila Zivkova, took him to a blind lady. This is before the Auroville Act was passed. So she, the Minister of Culture of Bulgaria, took him to a blind lady with occult powers. She asked for the ring that he was wearing in his fingers. She couldn't see it, but she could see in another manner. Incidentally, it was the ring given by the mother herself. And holding the ring in her hand, she could connect with somebody. And she said, I see a lady in a white headdress. And she's asking you, Kirit, what is happening about the new city? The mother asked through that lady when he would complete the work of getting the Act of Auroville, the city of the future past. So, this is just one of them. Ouch. Let us rewind a bit and move back to the time he was in college in Mumbai, and when he knew nothing about Sri Aurobindo and the mother, but he nurtured within him a quest for truth, for reality, for God. And he'd already done a lot of preparation in the Indian knowledge systems, a lot. At 3, if he was being taught the Vedas, we can understand at 16, when he entered college, what he must have done. So when he was preparing for his final examination of MA in philosophy, his roommate handed him a copy of the Life Divine. And he said, my uncle wants me to read this. But it is too difficult for me to understand, Kirit. I can't understand it. And it is anyway up your galley. So you read it, please. Let me know what it's about, and I'll go and just rattle it out to my uncle. Kirit Bhai first says that he kept it on the side for almost a week. He didn't touch it. But when he opened the Life Divine, he read it read it, again read it. He almost read it 14 times. He couldn't put it down, sleeping hardly a few hours at night. Reading the Life Divine was a life-transforming experience for him. I cannot go into the details, so I'll just fast forward the story. So because of Life Divine, he came to the ashram, met the Divine Mother, and soon, giving up a wide-for job, the job of an IS officer, he joined the Sri Aurobindo ashram, as we all know. At first, Kirit Bhai was given work at the dining room of wiping dishes. And then he was given work at the printing press. And he said that the work in the printing press was for him a great discipline in Karma Yoga. And it gave him a constant experience of the mother as Mahasaraswati herself. But there was a constant question that he was asking inwardly, that apart from Karma Yoga, what is to be the line of sadhana? As a reply, he had a dream through which the mother gave him a reply. In the dream, he saw that he was talking to a few colleagues of the ashram press. This is his dream. And mother appeared in the midst. She turned to him and said in French, a language which he then hardly understood, "Ouvre ta porte," open your door. And then, in the dream, she gave him a flower. Dream, she gave him a flower and added, "This is Radha's consciousness." This was then his first lesson in integral yoga, to open the doors of the psychic consciousness and to work towards the attainment of Radha's consciousness was the path shown by the mother directly in his dream for his sadhana. How many times the mother has come to him in the dream and given him the way forward. This message that he received continued to be the guiding light throughout his life. And in his words, I quote Kirit Bhai, "The more I have advanced on that line, the more I have seen the captivating smile of the mother, the only thing I have come to value in my life." Unquote. After 14 months of work in the press, the mother assigned to him the humble work of dusting books at the library of the ashram, which provided him an experience of intense tranquility and serenity. And after about 9 months, another experience. One evening, he had a remarkable experience. Seated in the library, facing the ocean, he experienced as the witness consciousness he experienced himself as the witness consciousness. He was the witness consciousness, and he was seeing himself praying. He was praying to the mother, and again I quote, he said, "Mother, I want to teach." And again in his words, I quote, "I was only a witness of my prayer. And when my prayer was over, there was nothing but tranquility, and there was no trace of expectation of any reply. I had spoken to none about this experience or about my prayer," unquote. And lo and behold, the very next morning, Pavitrada, the director of the entire education setup of the ashram, came to meet him at the library and extremely gently and softly told him, "Mother wants you to become the registrar of the Center of Education." Kirit Bhai knew at once that the mother had replied to his prayer of the previous evening, since acceptance of the registrarship of the Center of Education would carry with it an opportunity to teach at the Center of Education. His life thereafter became a life of multi-sided sadhana, intense program of learning and a labor, every breath of which took him straight to the feet of the Divine Mother. In his words, and I quote again, "Indeed, my life became a life of daily blessing and daily flow of divine grace, immeasurable and most wonderful." Once, the mother spoke to Kirit Bhai of the 3 steps in Sri Aurobindo's work. She said, first was the Center of Education, the ashram school. Second was Auroville. And third was Sri Aurobindo's action in India and the world. Kirit Bhai said to the mother that day, and I quote again, "My prayer is that I be in all the 3 steps of Sri Aurobindo's work," unquote. And when we look back at his life and at all his works, we see clearly that he worked on all 3, with the main thrust being education, the new education. I can go on and on and on, recounting the experiences of Kirit Bhai with the mother, but I'll wrap up for now. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Anjali ji. Yes, many of us know Kirit Bhai was very fond of reading the Life Divine, and he was able to quote paragraph with page number, line number exactly. Yeah. Yes.
The first appointment I got with him was with great difficulty. When I'd never seen him, I'd only heard about him, because he would meet my father, and every time my father would recount how he's had a spiritual experience. And I would want to meet him, and my father wouldn't share his time with him. So I started ringing him up, and I went on telling him, "Uncle, I would like to meet you, Uncle, I would like." Finally, after a month, he rang up my father, said, "Your daughter is hounding me to meet her. Should I meet her?" Taking permission from my father. And then he gave me time. When I went to him with a diary, 2 diaries that I'd been writing to God for some 5-7 years. I said, "You don't need to read all this. Just read the last question that I've written to God, because nobody's being able to give an answer to that." But he patiently read through both the diaries, I don't know how long. And then when he read the question, he says, "Anjali, go to that bookshelf, pick up volume number this, open it on page number this, and read the paragraph which begins with these words." It was the Upanishads. And he guided me through the verses 5 and 6 of Isha Upanishad, which gave me the answer. He was phenomenal.
Yes, he used to say, I once asked how long we should continue reading. You know the Life Divine almost by heart. Then he said, until that language becomes our language. So that was his answer. Last but not the least, I had a privilege and honor to provide some assistance, secretarial assistance to him. And in 2014, he asked me to write a letter on his behalf. Means I was to just type a letter. I have a copy. And some excerpts from that letter I would like to read out. It was addressed to respected Honorable Shri Narendra Bhai. Then I would like to bring your central attention to Sri Aurobindo's message of the 15th August 1947. I would like you to urge you to ensure implementation of this message both in spirit and in letter. May I also bring to your notice 3 tasks that Sri Aurobindo envisaged for India? The recovery of the old spiritual knowledge and experience in all its splendor, depth, and fullness is its first, most essential work. The flowing of this spirituality into new forms of philosophy, literature, art, science, and critical knowledge is the second. And original dealing with modern problems in the light of the Indian spirit and the endeavor to formulate a greater synthesis of a spiritualized society is the third and the most difficult. New India is emerging under your dynamic leadership, and it is certain that the Mother India will now usher in the noons of the future. And he wrote in Gujarati, Shubha Shakuna Dishe Madhyana Shobhashe. That means that is a poem by Kavi Narmad. And yes, last line was, you have made India very proud and you stand very high in the world today. Yes, for this session planned in this Auroville festival, I received a letter yesterday. And in that letter, it was mentioned that to commemorate the 150th birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo, Auroville Foundation is hosting the second edition of Auroville Literature Festival, ... The overarching theme of this year's festival is inspired by Sri Aurobindo's 5 Dreams, first broadcast by All India Radio on the 14th August 1947, envisioning a free and united India, the resurgence of Asia, a world union for peace, India's spiritual gift to humanity, the emergence of a higher stage of human evolution. That And this festival, this session on Kirit Joshi will elevate this festival, further linking the eternal light of India's spiritual wisdom with the nation's ongoing efforts for harmony, sustainability, and inner transformation. Secretary Auroville. Thank you very much. Yes, with this, we conclude this session. With 1 minute silence, madam? Yes. Anybody would like to share few of... Yes, please. The reminiscences.
Yeah, just I want to say a few lighter vein parts of Kirit Bhai. You know, I used to have a laptop, and he used to still use paper and pen. And so very often he will ask me, Tom, did you bring your laptop? I say, yes. Can you please open it? I'm going to dictate something. And every time when you thought there will be a full stop, there would be a comma. I think he was competing with Sri Aurobindo in making long sentences. That is one anecdote. The second anecdote is that I think it was in 2008 or 7 that he gave me a call and said, there is a World Philosophy Conference in Istanbul. And I would like you and Luigi to come with me. So we went to Istanbul, and there was indeed the World Philosophy Conference, where he kept on introducing us as Professor Van Meegen and Professor Zansi, and we kept on saying, no, we are not a professor. And then Kirit Bhai said, for today, you're a professor. The third anecdote I would like to share, already Secretary alluded to it. We had gone to the Secretary housing in Chennai, where we wanted some special regulations for Auroville. And the Secretary was a bit embarrassed that this very high officer from Government of India had come all the way to his office. So almost apologetically, the Secretary got from his desk, we sat in the sofa, and he said, sir, to Kirit Bhai, why have you come to me? I should have come to you. And he said, "No, sir, you have misunderstood. I have not come here as an officer of the government of India. I have come here as a coolie of the mother." And the implication was, why can't you also become a coolie of the mother and do what we want? So a lot of very nice memories, the numerous sessions that we had in Roger's house in Outer Model. I could also give a lot of these beautiful anecdotes. And one last thing I would like to say, when he would enter a room, if he would enter a room, immediately the level of consciousness would go up. That is something that I would like to remember for always. Thank you.
Hello, yeah. So we used to take dictation, you know, the 12 books that he's written on synthesis of yoga, of the Bhagavad Gita, etc. The 12 books. So when he was in Delhi, and we used to take dictation from him. So he had no notes, no paper, no points. It used to just flow from somewhere, and we'd be writing. And we're writing, he's in the middle of a sentence, and a phone would come. He would take the call, maybe speaking in Sanskrit for 5 minutes. And then when he would put the phone down, he wouldn't ask us to repeat the sentence. He wouldn't ask us where he'd left the sentence, which he was dictating. In the middle of a sentence, he would just close his eyes and start from there. It was unbelievable, but that was him. You've got to not give me the mic now.
Somehow hearing Tuan, what rings in my inner ear is carried by how he was insisting, build the city. You have to build the city. You have to create self-governance. Year after year, in the meetings we were having, he was insisting on this. It really was, he was really seeing the importance of the body of Auroville taking shape. I think that is very important. And also I would just like to mention that this building, the Unity Pavilion where we are sitting, is here thanks to Kirit Joshi. He recommended it for the visiting committee which was here, one of the projects. And that was how in 2010 we could build this big hall here with the funding of GOI because of Kirit Bhai. So, big thank you.